Hi, and welcome to the fourth video in our series of tutorials on how to use AWQMS. This tutorial focuses on using the graphing options. There are 11 options under the Graphs tab. The tiles give you the name of the output and a small example of what type of figure you will create if you choose to use it. There are some differences between the options, and we'll try to point out the main differences in this video. All options under the Graphs tab take you to the Location Search Criteria page rather than the Organizations and Location Search Criteria page. The initial steps for creating each type of graph will be the same as creating a query, so I'm going to use the conditions of a previous query for this example. You can do this by selecting Latest Search Criteria when hovering over the option you want to use. Once you get to the Parameters tab, you'll start to see the differences. First, you may have the option to check a box to show a threshold line for one or more parameters on the graph. DEQ has not populated AWQMS with thresholds at this time, so this condition is not applicable. If you are interested in learning more about DEQ's water quality standards, please visit the web page shown here. Then you have the box that allows you to customize the list of parameters and information available for the graph you're creating. For the full list of available parameters, click on the Refresh Parameter List button. The Options tab for each type of graph gives you additional ways to customize the look of your figure. Now let's create some figures. If you're making a box and whiskers plot, you can select as many parameters as you like, and a separate plot will be made for each parameter. If you include multiple sites, the box and whisker plots will be displayed side by side for each parameter included in your query. Your figures will look like this. For a bivariate scatter plot, you have the option to choose one parameter to plot on the x-axis and one parameter to plot on the y-axis. Your figures will look like this. There are 4 single parameter graphs available: line, yearly comparison line, cumulative frequency, and mean value bar. When making a line graph, you can choose multiple monitoring locations, but only one parameter. For the yearly comparison line graph, you can only choose one monitoring location and one parameter. Data will be grouped by year in the figure, so this is good for queries that cover a large date range. The cumulative frequency graph allows you to choose multiple monitoring locations, but only one parameter. If multiple monitoring locations are selected, then data will be displayed as one data set. You must choose the Show Histogram option on the Options tab to include a histogram in the figure. When making a mean value bar graph, you can choose multiple monitoring locations, but only one parameter. For multi-parameter graphs, there are 3 options: line, depth profile line, and mean value line and bar graphs. To make a line graph, you can choose multiple monitoring locations and parameters. Each location will be displayed on a separate graph. To our knowledge, not much depth profile data has been uploaded to AWQMS, so the depth profile line option likely won't be used unless you have knowledge of a specific dataset. There seems to be an error with the mean value line and bar graphs, and we've contacted AWQMS to fix the issue. If you want to make a sampling frequency graph, you can choose multiple monitoring locations and parameters. Each location will be displayed as a separate graph. To make a pie chart, you can choose multiple monitoring locations and parameters. Selected parameters must have the same units unless you select Graph the number of results for each parameter on the Options tab. Click Create Graph, and a pop-up screen will display the created figures, so be sure to allow pop-ups if you have a pop-up blocker enabled. Across the top of the pop-up, you have a couple of options to further customize your figure. You also have options to save or export your figure. If you'd like to further investigate the data, you can hover over the figure to get summary information about a particular monitoring location or parameter. You can also zoom in or out by scrolling with your mouse over the figure area. Finally, you can hide monitoring locations or parameters on the figure by clicking on the name in the legend. If you have any questions about this video, please feel free to send an email to the address shown here. Thank you for watching.